All right, you guys, so we are on to our next project, Claydonians. So things we want to make sure we have. The first couple days, we're just going to kind of be talking about the concept of what a Claydonian is and start planning and designing what it's going to look like. But eventually, we are going to also need that polymer clay that you guys were given as well. So you should have a few chunks of that in your art supply box. And don't worry if you don't really like the colors, that's okay, because if you look at the supplies, some of the optional things are your paints and your paint brushes. Once we bake these, you will be able to paint over the top of them and change it to whatever color you really want. So just know that that's an option, because I know I got some colors where I was like, not feeling it. So you will be able to paint over these, just so you are aware. So I guess we need to talk about, like, what is a Claydonian? What does that even mean? Well, as of right now, it means nothing because it's something I made up. All right. So if you look it up in the dictionary, you're not going to find anything. A Claydonian for our art class is a creature, and it's got to meet these specific rules for how you make them. And they have to follow these rules for a couple of reasons. Reason number one, well, kind of the same reason for almost every project in here. We always focus on the standards, right? Like there's certain art standards that by the time we're done with middle school, you are expected to learn certain things. And so when it comes to clay creation, some of the things you have to learn are slab, coil, and pinch pots. So we're going to be using those three techniques for our Claydonians. So we're going to chat about that more today. And then some of the other things that the Claydonians need to be able to do, which we'll chat about more later, will be part of a game that we're going to play at the end of this project. And so just like we've had before where there's a bonus activity that you can partake in, this game will be a game you're going to play against your classmates, and it will count for those bonus points. And once again, if you don't do the game, that's okay. Because it's for bonus points, you can use that extra time in order to finish making your Claydonian if you need it. But the game is really fun, and you're getting graded on making sure that your Claydonians do these things anyway. So might as well make it that way, and then that way, if you can play the game at the end, 5 bonus points for you, and your Claydonian will be able to participate by following these following things. So let's begin. So we're going to click on where it says, what is a Claydonian? And we'll go in present mode here. So you guys, what's a Claydonian? You guys can see a picture of an unpainted Claydonian that I made out of just actually regular clay. Now the clay that we have is polymer clay because it can be baked just in your oven or a toaster oven at a low temperature. So obviously we can't use this kind of clay because I'm guessing most of our homes don't have kilns that go up to thousands of degrees. So we're using polymer clay instead. But anyway, a Claydonian is going to look something like what you're seeing over here. But it's kind of like an animal creature. We'll go into more detail next class. But it has to be constructed using the 3 things that we're going to discuss today. Okay, so the first thing is pinch pots. You have to have pinch pots in your Claydonian. So what is a pinch pot? Well, a pinch pot, if you take a ball of clay, stick your thumb down in the middle, and you start pinching around the edges to make a pot. Okay, that's a pinch pot. So we're actually going to be using 2 pinch pots. If you kind of see the shape of this one here, imagine now if I had a second one that would fit on top of it like that to make a circle, a sphere, right? That would be hollow in the middle. So where did I use pinch pots in this Claydonian? It's actually the entire head, body part of the Claydonian is 2 pinch pots put together to make this hollow sphere. And of course I made sure that I punched a hole into it. You guys can see that in the pupil. You guys can do it in an inconspicuous spot. Some people just do it like on the bottom of it if you don't really want it to be seen. But I incorporated mine into the design so that when the air temperature changes, like when we're heating it up, that those molecules on the inside of it don't make it burst open. We don't want that to happen. So, but to make your pinch pots, to make your Claydonian, it has to have pinch pots. So that's something to keep in mind as we start designing these. Now, we'll start actually officially designing next class, but things to think about. The next thing that your Claydonian needs to have is a slab. So what is a slab when it comes to clay? I like to think of it like when you roll out cookie dough, all right? When we roll it out with that rolling pin, we want to keep it that nice, even thickness throughout. That's a slab. So on this Claydonian here, the spikes, you can tell I made from a slab. These wings were actually made from a slab. Even the eye, so it's separate pieces of slab, but this part of the eye, and then I made another slab over the top. Even the eyelid is actually a slab too, that I then put over the eyeball, and it kind of rounded out those edges. But that was a slab as well. So on here, there's a lot of slab being used in this Claydonian that you're seeing. All right, the third one that we need to know about for today is coils. So when I think of coils, I think of kind of like a straw or tubes. So we're going to roll it out using the palms of our hands, rolling it out like that. And then we're going to use those on our Claydonian as well. So where am I using it on the Claydonian here? The kind of snout to beak thing, that was actually used by making a coil and attaching that to the face. And then the legs and toes as well were made out of coils. All right. So for today, once again, we don't actually have to start designing. We're just kind of like learning about this whole process as we're moving into this next project. So we want to make sure we fully understand what pinch pots are, what slabs are, and what coils are. And we know we need to use all three things when designing our Claydonian starting next class.